And just like that, good to see you all back. February 1st. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The first of the month. Yeah, y'all know the song. If you don't know the song, I highly suggest you go Google or YouTube after this. Bone Thugs and Harmony, first of the month. That was an anthem when I was a kid. Nonetheless, welcome. Crypto After Dark. I hope you're ready, everybody. Please go hit like. Get the like button out the way. All right. Subscribe while you're there. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. The more you miss, well, the more you miss. And we don't want anybody to miss anything. All right. We are a data-based, informational-based YouTube channel. It will not change from that. That's all there is to it. And if you're missing out, you're missing out. We don't want that. So please go hit the like button. All right. 30 of you in here already, and only 18 of you have hit like. Go hit like. It's free. It costs nothing. It costs nothing. All right. So, oh, by the way, I meant to do it. Not only do you hit like, hit the bell too. I keep forgetting I have that. Oh, that's a puke gif. Oh, no, that's the trash gif. Yeah, this market right now, trash. Trash. I think I can make that bigger. Hang on. I forgot that I could do that. I don't know. I have to mess with it later. The resolution's different because I changed the resolution for the live streams. So, again, this will be the second stream on the new resolution. If everyone will bear with me, when I move the screen around, it will ghost. You'll see ghost candles for a couple seconds. And my video output on the camera is going to pixelate a little bit. I'm still working on this, trying to get it dialed in. I have an ultra widescreen monitor, so it changes the format down to a smaller, after messing with this for a week, it changed the format down to a smaller screen. And when it does that, it tends to move the frame rate and the bit rate to a different level. All right. It's not my PC's thing. It's just it's this mixture between YouTube and OBS Studio and other things, trying to get the resolution just perfect. It'll probably never be just perfect. All right. I can scale it back to what I had before. Right. And if I do that, I know that will work flawlessly. But the problem is it's a little blurry. Right. I'm trying to make the chart as crystal clear as I can. Okay. And because of that, it will do this. All right. It's gonna, you'll see me pixelating in the camera right there. Right. So I'm working on fixing it. I promise. Let me get the glasses on. All right. So I wanted to show you the daily chart on Bitcoin here first and give you my thoughts on it before I go too far down the rabbit hole and everything else. All right. It's fairly obvious to see that we have a pretty clear and defined range here. And by clear and defined range, I mean levels where the price is continually getting stuck. All right. We've reverted from the mean, meaning things have changed from the normal a couple times, right? One time we had this nice little run up, and that was our last move up. That was the ETF move up, right? People want to blame it on that by that red candle right there, but call it what you want. That was the last move up. That went to roughly 49,000 and some change, just short of $50,000. All right. After that, we then had a bit of a capitulation. All right. Not a full on capitulation, just more of a sell off. And where did that go? That broke below the range just here. Now, what have we done? We have reverted back to the mean, or back to the normal, back to the average, and we're right back dead smack in the middle of the range where we were before. So what do I see here that jumps out at me? Well, it kind of reminds me of what happened back in the summer. All right. So if we look back here, we kind of see similar stuff. This move here in April in the spring was real similar to me. You had this average price that was right through here, much the same as what we've got right now. It broke above the mean for a little bit, back into it, above the mean, back into it. Kind of acted like it wanted to fail, but never really did. Formed a head and shoulders, which was really gnarly, right? You see that head and shoulders? We can't deny that. But the move down wasn't very steep. Typically, on a head and shoulders, you're going to have two moves down. You'll have your neckline. You'll have your first move down. You'll have a check back on that first move's low, and then you make a new low, one more low. And what happened? We really kind of only made one low, a bit of a fallen wedge right here. And she broke away from that head and shoulders, which is how you invalidate it. You get above that right shoulder, and that's exactly what it did, right? Made a higher high. Cool. moving forward, what did it do? Did the kind of the same thing again, only a little slower this time. Yeah. Kind of thought about it and tiptoed its way. I was in log mode, but it doesn't matter. Same thing. Kind of tiptoed its way over. Then we had a capitulation, but immediately it caught support, stayed in range, and then broke back north, right? Kind of similar to what we have here. All right. Same thing. We sold off. We've broken back into range, and now we're just kind of sitting there idling along. So, what is my thought process behind what I think's happened? Well, I think you're seeing the market into an indecision moment where it can't quite figure out what it wants to do. And because it's in that indecision moment, kind of hesitating, thinking about it, not moving back and forth, you can see the market trying to find its footing. All right. It hasn't quite figured out which way it wants to bounce the ball. All right. Now it's got to figure it out here soon because we're going to run out of time. The red line right here marks halving. All right. We know Bitcoin halving's coming roughly in the 20 to 22 range of April. I've got it as 22 right here on the chart. I think that's currently what it is. It does speed up and slow down just a little bit. So bear with me on that by a day or two, but I promise you it'll be all over the place, letting you know when it happens. All right. I think we'll have our low in before then. Typically, between a month to 2 months before halving, you have your final low, sometimes a little earlier than that, right? That was 2016 and 2020. 2020 was a little later. 2016 was a little earlier. 2012 was a little later. Well, I guess way earlier. The averages have all kind of bounced around, but it turns out to be about 60 to 70 days, no matter what. All right. So if we were to backtrack here, about 60 or 70 days from halving, that's 45 days. That's 81 days, right? Here's about 70 days, and that's roughly around Valentine's Day. Now you know why I made the thumbnail that I made last time when I said St. Valentine's Day Massacre. I'm going to sneeze. Hang on. Goodness, I didn't sneeze, but I feel it building up. I'm going to have to here in a moment. I can feel it. You know what I'm saying? You can feel a sneeze coming. It's right there. I'm going to make the funny sneeze face. So, nonetheless, we're still stuck in range. It still doesn't want to break. Let me flip you over to the high time frame here and show you a different point of view from it. All right, so this high time frame look is a little bit different, and I'll show you here. Let's start with weekly. I got the same range marked out here. Nothing's changed, right? Same range that you saw a moment ago, just weekly candles instead of daily candles. So it's a longer time frame, takes things longer to play out. This red candle is horrible. That should have been a death sentence for this chart. That red candle is incredibly bearish. A massive shooting star candle at the top of a run. Now, I need to ask you, please tell me, what does a shooting star sound like it does? It falls from the sky. It doesn't go up, it falls from the sky. That is a massive shooting star candle right there. And because of that, that immediately gave me pause. Made me think, hey, this thing is heading south, and it comes back up, back into this range. Now, could we just be building up a bigger move down? Yes. And that's why I think that's what's going to happen. That's why you see this box right here marked as I'm buying this box early to mid-March. I think between mid-March and mid-February in that 1 month range right there, which is roughly, a month and a half before halving, I think that may be our last time to buy. And for what it's worth, that time may have already came and gone. If you look back to the wick that it made on the last weekly, that was 91 days ago. It's not impossible to say it made its move a little early. All right, we have to keep that in mind. And we could be wrong. I've been wrong before. It's part of the game. If we look at monthly. Now, last month managed to close green here. But this is still a massive indecision doji at the top of a run. Plus, let me show you some other worlds that also watch crypto, okay? Here's Owanda, which is a Forex trading platform. Monthly candle looks a little better on Owanda. Here's Bitcoin CME. What'd you get here? I got a Gann grid up on this one, sorry. That is a complete opposite of what we're talking about. A horrible spinning top monthly candle. This couldn't be worse. Well, I mean, I guess it could be worse, but it's a very, very not great look. This is 100%, hey, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we thinking? You can't make a move based off this candle is what I'm trying to say. So what do? So I've went through a few different time frames here to try to look through this and take it a different stance. So here's the 2 week. You'll rarely see me use the 2 week, but I thought it was worth a shot. Look at that. So if monthly didn't look bad, 2 weeks definitely looks bad. All right, that's a clear doji candle at the top. That should be a reversal candle. And why do I say that? Well, let me show you some examples of dojis at the bottom. I wanted you to see this high time frame look to understand these candles should be bearish. All right, let me flip over here to a couple different charts here with dojis at the bottom. And it'll just be daily charts, right? Let's look at ICP. And let's flip it over to, I want you to see the doji candle that it made at the bottom here. Yeah, there you go. So that was the last little push down we had recently on ICP. Made a big red candle, felt good. I didn't buy this because there wasn't a confirmation just yet. All right, and what happened? Doji candle, equal lows, big hammer at the bottom, doji, whatever you want to call it, but that's typically a sign of a reversal right here, okay? And as you see, what happened? She reversed right back in the other direction. Now, if you were to flip this, invert, there you go. That's just what I just showed you on Bitcoin, isn't it? All right, same thing I just showed you, where you have a gnarly doji candle at the top on that monthly chart, right? I've zoomed way in so you can see this real well. If you were to just look at it from a pure candlestick point of view, that should be bearish. And here's the opposite of that, which was bullish. Again, I've flipped this upside down so that you can see the difference, right? That's bullish in front of you. What I just showed was bearish. There you go. This is bearish. This is bullish. And you've got that reversal that I wanted to see. Again, hasn't happened yet on the charts we want to see. And why do I say I want to see that? Well, for what it's worth, I took $100,000 plus worth of profits, and I've parked them in stable coins, and they're chilling on the sidelines. Why would I do that? Well, I don't want to be in all these assets if they're going to fail and roll over. What would be the point in holding on to something that is going to lose value? Now, yeah, I could make a plan ahead of time and say that I don't want to sell these, and that's a noble cause. That's my take profit line I'm about to show you on the chart here. But for me, I need as much as I can get before this bull market starts. Technically, we haven't even started the bull market yet. Like I said, I think we still have this one more push down here. It doesn't have to be a humongous fail. I'll go over where I think these levels hit. But that's part of the reason why I sold everything off. Not everything, just a lot of stuff. I still have $40,000 probably in, but I took 100,000 profit. Right, that was like 2 to 1 for me. That's my thought process, like 2 to 1. So, you know, I'm trying to be real careful about this and trying to make the most I can out of it. I'm not telling you to do that, but here on the chart is my sell line. I pretty much sold everything for an average price of up here. Now, some of it's a little higher, some of it's a little lower. But like I said, for the most part, if I use total market cap, which is the chart you see right here, that's pretty much where I sold everything, an average of where I sold everything. Like again, like I said, some of them were lower, some of them were higher. Weekly here on total, look, again, all these wicks on the top, this is a terrible candle. This should be bearish. If we were trading Forex, we would expect this to come down. Only it hasn't done it. Killing me. Like I look at that and I go, that is a bearish formation. And I know it. Made a move out of, broke out and made a move out. Exactly, sure. Now retrace and get it over with, but it still hasn't happened. I'm going to pull some fibs from all the way at the bottom of December 2022 here, all the way up to the tip top of January 24. All right. So this is flat bottom of the bear market and current top. All right. If you look here, we've already came down and tagged this 236, which again gives me pause because we had a very bearish candle and then a hammer candle, right? Again, that could have been the move. That might be it, and it might not be another one after that. I'll mark halving here. There you go. Right about there's where halving is, the green line. Now, if this were to fail, where do I see it going down to? I've talked about this before, but let me draw a box for you here. Right through here, at the 382, which is about 1.25 trillion, right? That makes sense to me. That makes sense to me because it's the 382 fib plus it's also near local support overall from the highs in 2023. If you're going to fail, you're going to fail to support. All right. If it doesn't fail and it wants to hold on, where would it go to? Well, this 236 fib where it's at now, where it bounced off of. However, that bearish of a formation after a huge run up plus, look at the RSI. Look at the RSI. Still overbought. This screams no to me. This screams stop. Think about what you're doing to me. Could I be wrong here? Yes. What could happen? You see this very bullish RSI that has now gone overbought. When things go overbought, we look to take a chance at selling, right? Just the same way we look to take a chance at buying when they're oversold. Okay? This is oversold, and what happened? It sprinted all the way up here to overbought. Now that it's overbought, what do you expect? You expect a sell-off, and you expect a sell-off to at least the last level, and it hasn't even reached that yet. Again, all this leads me to think she's coming down here in the next 2 to 6 weeks, 2 to 7, 8 weeks, 2 to 8 weeks. In the next 2 to 8 weeks, we're going to get our last rebate. Look at this MACD on total market cap. Now, that had massive divergence, which means difference apart from each other on these two MACD lines, right? Your MACD line and your trigger line. You've got falling volume 1 week after the next, after the next, after the next, all right? Even though it was up, you had less buyers than before, indicating a potential trend change. Now these lines are getting closer. Look what typically happens when this happens, folks. See that? And that was the bull market. We go back here and you get a different idea. Look, they were very separated and they came back together. Very separated, came back together. Separated, came back together. Separated, came back together. Moving average, convergence, divergence. That's what MACD stands for, okay? Makes sense? All right. These are my confluences. I'll use these indicators to find confluence when I'm unsure about what's going on, right? We can't be positive, so we try to get as close as we can. And I like pure candles, of course. However, why not use all the data that we have at our disposal? So I'll go to the next thing here, which is my 821 EMA. What do I got there? Looks fine. Still on top of the 8 EMA, as a matter of fact. So as far as indicators go, I don't want to touch this. I don't want to touch this. It's all right. Now, how long has it been since it hit the 21 EMA? October of 23. So going on 4 months, right? So should it come back and touch that 21 EMA at some point? I would think so. And just back to the 21 wouldn't be a horrible thing. However, that would only be about 1.42 trillion from 1.6 trillion. It's only about 1.5 trillion off. All right. Now that's possible that that happens. What else could happen? I want to set the stage for you a little bit here. All right. If I take the 821 off and I just put the 50 on here, all right. By the way, yeah, I think people can hear me. I'm making sure. I messed with, if I don't have any audio, please somebody let me know. I've been talking forever. But I messed with OBS Studio a lot lately. If I mess something up, that's on me. All right. So I don't think we're going to get all the way back to this 50-week moving average. And the reason I say that is historically, we haven't done that. This was back here in the pandemic. I won't say the name of it, but this was the only time we dipped below this after we broke above it. And if you were to erase just this pandemic move, you kind of stayed above the 50-weekly moving average the whole time. All right. And if we go back again, here's 2016. Here is January 2016, which is what just ended in 2024. Again, we're 2 cycles later, 2 4-year cycles later. Look what happened right here. You see that? This was very bullish, 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 bullish. And then poof, one candle come down and smacked everybody in the face. That was the middle of January. Have we had that? No, we haven't. I'm going to cheat for you. No, we haven't. Then we had another big sell-off right here. It didn't last the whole week, though, did it? It didn't last the whole week. As a matter of fact, let's go see how long it did last. I'm showing you this for a reason, I promise, okay? There's a method behind the madness. All right. So let's see, January 16th. Gotcha. So here is January 16th, right middle of January. And you see big, humongous sell-off. It lasted the whole day. Look at that. And as a matter of fact, it lasted a couple days, pretty darn low through here. All right. After that, we immediately jumped back over the 50. I get it. It took about a couple weeks to jump back over the 50, and then she was good. All right. Now, of course, it threw some more wicks over here. I'm not really sure what to make of those because it was lower volume back then. Nonetheless, it held on the whole time. Now, I'll say to you, look, right here, we jumped the 50 and kind of didn't look back. All right. So if I go to where we currently are, just the other day, we jumped the 50 but fell back under. All right. Now, Bitcoin is above the 50-day moving average. Total market cap is not. Do we stay under here? Is this our chance to sell off? Or was this the last sell off? I'm still pondering this, and I hope you are too. I don't want to lose train of this because this is very important. All right, let me say hey to everybody real quick because I've been talking like crazy. If you haven't hit like, please do. 70 people on. 42 of you have hit like. What are you doing? Hit like. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. And when you like it, it goes around more. I've had 3 people in the last 2 weeks message me and say, hey, by the way, I saw your stream on YouTube because YouTube shared it to me. Ding. All right. Then we can also do the buzzer, right? When we're wrong about something. It's so stupid. But nonetheless, the more likes we have, the more people see this, the more it gets out to everyone and the more people we can help. Okay. So let's say hey to people. Vintage Pennies, good to see you, brother. Crypto Joe, good to see you. Ready for bonk, right? A lot of people are going to try to jump in on shitters, and I don't think it's time for shitters, so be careful. Sir Sigma, what's up, brother? Good to see you. It's always 11 p.m., David. It's always 11. Yeah, I'm not late. Let's see. David, Jeremy Monroe, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Jeff Thomas, Existence, Educated Dummy. PG Vendant, good to see you. Game Goes, good to see you. Ariana, how are you doing, ma'am? Colo, Burner, Danny Deep Pockets, Doug Anderson, good to see you. Morton Lyling, good to see you. Fritz, Distinctive Shine, what's up, brother? Josh, Carmine Glitch, Raclette, jeez, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Crypto Enthusiast, Resolution definitely is better. Good, thank you, Soto. Python position up 20%. Let's go, dude. Cycling Cotton, good to see you, Josh. Is Keith looking at any coins this live stream? Yeah, bro, this is what I do. Let's see. Pro tip for latecomers: set speed to 1.5x if you're okay. Higher with catching up to speed. Right. Paulo, good to see you. Slutty Rooster, how are you doing, ma'am? Good to see you. Paulo again. Zach, what's up, Brad? What's up, brother? Good to see you out there in Hockey Land. Mago, what's up? Dreamer, Manolo, Daya. Gosh, we got a lot of people on here. Let's see. What hat are you rocking tonight? I keep imagining the Baltimore O's hat because of Lightning. Nope, this is Chesney. So I coached my kids a couple years ago, baseball team, and this is the team hat that we had. Chesney, South Carolina. Now, you can look that up. It's not that hard to find, but Chesney, South Carolina, and coached them a couple years. So that's why I wear the hat. Those are my kids, man. So are my boys. How about that? Not just my boys. All of the boys on the team are my boys. How about that? And my kids too. That's what I consider. Anyway, under the 50 on the daily total market cap. I don't like that. Of course, Bitcoin, dancing with the 50, playing around on top of it. You know, the way this thing sits and looks like this on top of the 50 makes me think it's just going to bounce and go higher. If you're a Forex guy, you're arguing inefficiency right here, and that this was a very ugly drop and that we need to come back up here before we make this move down. What that would do would be what's called clearing the inefficiency gap, all right, or the quote unquote fair value gap. We clear that inefficiency. Inefficiency's done. It was a clean retrace at that point. And then we can move on with our move down, get this over with, and be done. I don't think we break out into new highs just yet. I don't. If it wants to do that and it wants to come up here and play that game, that's going to hurt people's feelings and it'll really frustrate me. But I think it's probably the right play. I don't want it to happen, but I think it's extremely likely. Do I think we get all the way up here to 50,000? No, I don't. Not yet. I do. I do think it's possible we run up here and get some more shorts out of the way, because there's a lot of liquidations on the low time frame right here about this line, which is roughly about 44,000 and some change, 44,250, 43. Right through there, there's liquidation, 44,250, 42,500, right through there. There's a lot of liquidations right here, and it's possible it just goes up there and catches them and then rebases out and bounces. I'm curious of how total market cap is going to handle this because it looks different than Bitcoin, right? So interesting. If I show you Bitcoin CME here on the daily, it looks better than the other chart, doesn't it? Right? Now it's still a lower high. I get it. There's your high, your lower low, your lower high. We should get a lower low in here to confirm our little mini downtrend. And then after that, we'll be pretty close to having, that might be it. I have to leave open the opportunity. I have to leave open the fact that this may not be done. It may keep going here. Again, unlikely from my perspective, but fully possible. So we got to keep our eyes open and not get silly here. If it does want to come up here, it's going to be scary. All right, it's going to be scary. I'll just be straight with you. I'll be a little on edge. Here's our pivot points. So if you look closely here, and the reason I'm not talking about altcoins and stuff a lot right now, it's pretty simple, right? Everything follows Big Daddy. And I know you may be in your favorite altcoin and you think it's going to do great, and that's wonderful. Nobody cares, including the market. That's unfortunate and sad, and I don't mean it to be mean. It's just the facts. When we're in moments like this, when Bitcoin dominance is very high, you can't depend on altcoins to save you, all right? You got to be very careful. There's a reason I took so many profits, all right? There are outliers. Some charts look better than others. I will openly admit that, all right? But be careful. Now, Bitcoin CME, right here's the pivot line. See that? Bullish would be above the pivot line, okay? It hasn't done that, obviously. Bearish, staying under the pivot line and breaking out. Hasn't done that either. It's sitting dead in between the two. This is incredibly frustrating for me, but still technically bearish as long as it's under that line. And I know it just through this hammer candle right here. I know this is a hammer candle, right? I get it. That's a nice looking green hammer candle. I understand it. Bounced to 50. I get it. It could go higher. Yes, it could. It's going to sting if it does so. We can also throw our Bollinger Bands up here. Typically, when we get a sharp move, it's because the Bollinger Bands squeezed in and got tight. Look, CME Bollinger Bands are not very tight right now, are they? These things can get way tighter before we have something really juicy happen. Since we're under the pivot, since we're stuck in range, it makes me think this thing's just going to sit here and squeeze a little bit under the pivot. Think about it, and then bam. This is ideal scenario for me, okay? Bollinger Band squeeze in. She gets stuck under the pivot. She gets stuck under resistance. She rolls over and plays dead one more time. One more time she drops the panties. Just one more. That last panty drop, I'm buying everything back that I sold. I may buy different allotments of what I sold, but I'm buying back everything I sold. I do not plan on buying $8,000 worth of quant again. All right? That's not the plan. That happened because that fell in my lap. I didn't expect it to go that way, right? So I'll probably buy Bitcoin or Ethereum for what it's worth. Maybe half and half. I haven't figured out exactly how I want to do that yet. But that's probably what I'll do. I'll probably buy Ethereum, lend it, borrow, and then buy Bitcoin with that. I'll buy more Ethereum, borrow stables, lend the stables out, buy Bitcoin, ride Bitcoin up to the market's over, and then I'll lend it back, get my Ethereum back, get my Bitcoin back, sell it all, right? That's the plan. So there's my little mini DeFi for you. That's about all the DeFi I'll do. I plan on doing more little stuff, but nothing big and crazy, okay? I would like to add liquidity to the liquidity pool for bundled bets. Let's look at bundled bets now. Current positions. This is a messy chart. I'm sorry. Kind of not really sorry. All right, so it's playing around with this 50-day moving average, but it did break out over the trend line here. So I'm curious, does it do what some others are doing, stay above here, and then pop up like Render did, which I can also show you, which is a bit of an outlier for the rest of the market? Or is it going to fail this 50, blow back through this pennant, and come down here? Tough answer, yeah? I would agree. So if you look at that, that's a really nice bull flag and a clean hold of support. I know it through wicks. All these wicks should be bullish. You see this green hammer candle right here? That should be bullish. Yeah. I'll let it freeze there for a second. Yeah, I'll let everybody know after I do it. I'll let everybody know after I do the land. There you go. It's quality's caught up now. This big candle right here, that should have been a big bullish hammer candle. Same for here, but this ended up actually being someone removing their liquidity and causing some chaos. But that person is no longer involved, and they lost 50% of what they did because of that, because they don't know what they're doing. But good news is, if this cracks here and makes a move and starts dancing and gets back up here, hey, there's a solid possibility it can get back up to where it stopped before and potentially crack open and break loose, heading up to that upper level that I've got marked up there at 1618 at $46. Interestingly enough, these fibs have a little bit more time left in them, depending on how you pull them. I pulled them out to this wick over here, and then they end up off in June, July in the summertime, right? If I pull them like this, we're running out of time, but we're not out. We run out in the middle of February, like everything else. So again, it makes me wonder, do we get that St. Valentine's Day massacre, or what exactly do we get? Again, I'm unsure, but this is one I plan on staking, or not staking, but adding liquidity with. You pair it with Matic and you add it on. Staking.bundlesbets.com is where you do that. That's all I'll say about that. Now, a couple more outliers, right? I talked about that. Let's have a look at Render here. There you are. All right. So right there, you see my sell line. It immediately swapped on me after I sold, didn't it? Cool. The train left the station, and I'm okay with that. Right? I've talked about this before. When that happens, it's part of the game. I'm not going to chase candles. I'm not going to chase green. I'll buy something else. It's fine. There's plenty of other things to buy. I say this all the time, but it takes a lot of discipline not to rebuy something when it breaks out like this. All right. So either way, it broke out. Now that it's broke out, here's our previous high. Here's our last high so far. This is a lower high. Could it continue breaking north? Absolutely, it could. Look at that. Look at these indicators. That's trying its best to break that bearishness. All right. Same thing with MACD. She swept up. Orange is over the midline. How about pivots, right? Let's go through it all. Look at there. Over the pivot line. Right there's our pivot line. Right there. This thing so far has had a bullish engulfing here. This should take off and keep going higher to at least 490. And then we could reassess from 490, but it looks like it's going to at least that. It danced the 50-day moving average perfectly. That's what I kind of think Bitcoin might do short term. I know that sucks, but I think we're still a couple weeks out from, if we're going to get red, I think it might still be a couple weeks out. Sorry. Solana, a little bit of an outlier. Let's look at it. All right. Yeah, if you're back on the stream for the first time in a long time, scoopity poop, good to see you, brother Bill Childers. I'm not going to go through 1,000 coins anymore. We do that on our live streams in Discord on Tuesdays. They're in our Discord. If you're not aware of how that works, it is quite simple. wap.com/team786. We do multiple live streams every week just in our Discord. Where have you been? Why haven't you gotten there? It's pretty simple, right? You show up. We post the live streams in the event sections. I tag everyone. So those of you who are in here, turn your notifications on. We do a private live stream. We go over every single coin that gets requested in 30 minutes. Plus, we do our morning weekly roundup where we go over the top assets in the market, crypto, stocks, Forex, gold, dollar index. It doesn't matter. We go over all of them. All right. This is important. The way we make these good decisions on the profits we take and the profits we get, the way we do that is through teamwork. I've talked to multiple people about that the last couple of days. All right. It's not just me. It's all of us. We all find a chart that looks a certain way and we go, ooh, look at this one, right? If you've got a chart that looks better than mine, I'm going to take that into consideration to buy. I'm no better than anyone else. If you've got better data than me, I want it, all right? We bought the bottom. I sold the tops of a lot of these. I'm going to rebuy lower and I'm going to do it all again. especially when we get to the end of the bull market. All right. We're absolutely going to rickroll this market. All right. You can come with us and get with us and make a bunch of money with us as a team, as a family. Or you can get left behind. And I don't want to see anybody get left behind. All right. You guys already know I don't do Twitter anymore. There's going to come a time when I don't do these YouTube streams publicly. WAP.com/team786. The doors close soon. What are you waiting for? All right. Back to the charts. Solana. All right. So we got a breakout, as you see. If I pull a fib along with it, these fibs don't run out until mid-February, end of February. It's about February 19th, every month except February came out of my mouth just then. What the hell? So we peaked up here and through this ugly candle right here at the 618. See that? That's a very bearish candle on that 618 fib. Then it fell under the 50 and has so far closed 2 consecutive candles under the 50. I think it'll throw a third one under the 50. I do believe, even though this broke out, that it was a bit of a false breakout and a psych out, right? It looks like this is going to tumble down here and give us a better entry somewhere down here, and it's probably going to lose traction to Bitcoin. Let me show you render, right? I already did that, but it's similar. If this thing breaks and comes back down, it'll be sometime mid-February, if it's going to do it. Today, right now, last couple hours, a very messy ICP chart, but let me zoom in for you. Same story here. I thought for sure this thing was going to roll over and quit. Now it's back to my original buy lines. So all these red lines right here in orange, these are my sell lines. I could rebuy them and be pretty much break even where I was. I don't want to chase the green though. So the thing here is there's a couple things I need to point out. I pulled fibs on this a certain way. Here's linear mode. Oh, excuse me. Here's linear mode and why I did this. You can ignore this green line. All right. Let me just pull that off. Here's linear mode. As you see, I only have a few candles on the screen and I pulled it this way so you could see this. This appears to be pretty solid. All right. Straight down with this trend line. Tried to come up to the 50 and failed. It did retrace a little and now it's trying to retrace back. These fibs run out on the 3rd, next day, Saturday. Saturday. These fibs run out on Saturday. What can it do by Saturday? It's going to have to break the highs here at 1270 and close above it. It may do that. Furthermore, it really needs to break the highs up here at 1392, which was the first lower high. See that? That was the first lower high. It really needs to break that. Is it going to break that in the next 2 days? I mean, maybe. If Bitcoin goes up, it can do the same. But it kind of seems like a false breakout to me. Kind of like render at first, kind of like Solana did, right? So I'm hawking this really hard. The other thing here is, look, right off the 50-day moving average. Doji at the bottom, it did over here, moved up. Came down and hit the 50-day moving average and moved up. The only solace here is the fact that you could draw a trend line downward like so. If you didn't include this wick, because it's not on some exchanges, and I'll understand if you don't. If you just pull it that way, well, that's a bearish test of a trend line so far. Bollinger Bands, tight, but not blazing tight, right? So it's cruising sideways a bit, and this is why I think it may fail. I think it may just roll over back down here to this midline and play some games with us and give us an equal low down here. And we may not get that super low that we want. Maybe we do. I'm watching very close. I have a lot of interest in this one because I told you guys how big I was going to be in on ICP. And I was for the most part. You can see my take profits. I made 250% on this one already. That's still pretty good. I could walk away and just put that money in Bitcoin or Ethereum and do pretty well. So please understand that. You're going to have these moments where they break out on you and you want to chase them. It's very important that you have discipline enough to stop yourself and be like, hold up, I'm not chasing this. I'm going to leave it be. There's a lot of other ones. And if you're going to reinvest because you're late, don't do everything that you put in before. Take some of that money and find something else somewhere else that looks good as well. This way you diversify, you de-risk, and at the same time take some risk. All right? It's called risk management, folks. It's one of the most important parts of what we do. Do not be a degen. Do not be the guy who throws money around recklessly just because you have it. All right? We try our best to be the anti-version of that. All right? We're not going to be the people who make the dumbest decisions and then get mad because it didn't work out the way they want it to. That happens a lot. And I don't want you guys to fall into that trap. Okay. It's very important. Don't be the sucker bet. A couple more here that caught my eye. Algorand. We'll do that. Algorand. MEXC. Yeah. I don't have anything on this chart. Perfect. So here's our October low where everything bounced the bottom. Correct? Correct. Here's our current high point, which was the end of the year. All right. I want to note you that this is January of 23. Okay. And this is December of 23. That, folks, is a lower high, not a higher high. The one I just showed you, ICP, was the other way around. It was a higher high. All right. So I know it's a little different for Algorand, and the punishment will be a little worse for Algorand, but stick with me here. All right. Log, linear, it's not going to make much of a difference here. You can clearly see the head and shoulders formation, head, shoulder, head. All right. We got a clearly defined neckline. We have our first down right there with that couple red candles. Let me zoom in here where you can see it very well. We have our first down, first defined down, right? Then we had our back test. You don't have to be perfect, just be close. After that, we're going to get our next down. One more down. How far down does it go? Well, I don't know yet. And how long does that take? It's also something I don't know yet. But what I can do is pull fibs on this. So I'm in log mode at the moment. I'm going to grab this bottom. I'm going to pull it to the top. Just like that. See, there's our uptrend that we had and it has failed. And since our uptrend has failed, we pull our trends up. All right, now what we're seeing is this thing has about till February 9th to get its gear and to get its act together and get its butt in gear. It hasn't done that. So it very well could crack and come back up here. If it does, that might be it. That's what I'm saying. If we start seeing some of these shoulders being validated, we know it's a done deal. So let's flip it to linear mode. If I flip it to linear mode, these fibs need to go out a little farther. You see that? And the trend line lines up a little better. Now, if we're to believe that Algorand is magically worse than everything else in the market, cool. But stick with me here because this could just roll back down here to 786 and cause some chaos. If that happens, what happens to the rest of the market? What happens if this just comes down here and does this and gets done by, this shows it's April 1st when these fibs run out. If that's the case, what does the rest of the market do? Is it just Algorand that does this? Is it just Algorand that looks this bad? It's not. Other ones look like this. And for that reasoning, this gives me pause and makes me wonder, how am I really supposed to trust Bitcoin and these upper caps if some of these look like this? That is terrible looking. If that's the case, others look like this. And if others look like that, how much worse is it going to get? So key interest points here are our golden pocket at about 13.5 cents and Sniper's Alley down here at roughly 13 flat. Percentage differences. From there down is another 30%. Let me flip to you and show you my buys and sells here. And I've even drawn it out on this chart for you already. Had it ready for you before the stream. I've got both of these levels marked. It already hit my first level right there in that green box. See that? Chad, thank you, bro. I'll get you right here in a second. So down there, Canada Chad, by the way, hit my green box already one time. I have another green box down here because this thing is still very, very clearly tucked under the trend line. And as you see, it still never went oversold, which leads me to my last point. Can someone show me where the fear is? Because I'll be real with you. I'm seeing an awful lot of YouTubers and influencers popping off at the mouth about how the bull market's ready. And here we go. And we should be buying right now. Constantly. Buy right now. Buy right now. If there's one person I trust less than a few people, it's an influencer. All right? I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Now, I could be wrong. But when I start seeing that happen, I immediately go the other direction. A little bit of an indicator for me is the stupidity level. When I start peeing, that's pretty good. Let me hit the applause button for that, or laughter. When I start peeing. Yeah. When I start seeing stupidity like that, I immediately shy away and want to do the opposite. All right. It's kind of like the inverse Jim Cramer index, right? So similar for me with this. I want you to walk softly because I think some of these could go oversold. And if they go oversold, the market is going to get butchered. How bad? We'll find out. Okay. All right. Chad says, can we look at that? I got you. We put our degens in their own channel. And that's right. You have your own section in our Discord. We have a section just for degenerates over there, right? One section. That's it. How many X's does bundle have? From $17 to $100 is 5X. No, $17 to $100 is 5X. It's a low cap. It could go farther than that. That's the thing. All right. It's a very low market cap. It's under $5 million. And because of that, it makes me think it could do more than that. And if that's the case, oh my God. Okay. Just saying. Let's see. All right. Make sure you let us know. I already read that one. Thank you, Danny Deep Pockets. Danny Deep Pockets put the link right there in the chat for our Discord. It's cheap. It'll never be much. It's $16 a month. You even get a free month if you sign up for it, right? So, you know what I'm saying? You can come in and just hang out and see how things are. Take note of everything, talk, get some questions in, that kind of stuff. No one's going to bite your head off. We try to help as many people as we can. We can't help everybody. It's part of the game. There will be people who get mad and leave and upset because, I don't do some of the degen stuff that other people do. Sorry. I don't care for whitelists. I don't care for airdrops. I want to make my money the right way. All right. I don't need to make it on anybody's back. So let's look at Pepe real quick because that's what Chadma asked for. That's what he requested. I tell you what, Sleep, because you've asked 3 times, I will do it. But typically I don't do these on live streams anymore. I don't go through a bunch of alts. However, I think it's cool that we should just go ahead and do it, right? For this one. All right. So at the moment, Pepe's stuck dead in a similar range that you saw for Bitcoin right here. Okay. Here's your big parallel channel. She's just chopping along, doing her thing. And as you see, it recently lost the midline. So since it lost the midline, I expect it to come at least halfway down from that midline, which is a bunch of zeros, 762. All right. And if it wants to go to the bottom of that channel, which is support, which is the only support it has on the whole chart, that's double a whole bunch of zeros, 60, 600, a whole bunch of zeros at 600. All right. So as long as it's nosed over like that, I get the heebie-jeebies about it and I don't want to throw any money at it. There you go. Under the 50. That's kind of leaning in the wrong direction to me. All right. I shy away from that. When I see them inverse parabola like that, I don't like that because that could turn out to be XRP. And we all know what happens with XRP constantly. ABT USDT. ABT USDT. All right. Here you go, Sleep. No worries. Let's do the gate. All right. Yeah, this is one of the, what I was saying. There's some outliers out there who have broken out and went wild. So this one just tried to break out of its range, and it actually looks like it may. Let's grab every bit of data we have here. All right. Yeah, she just broke out of this wedge, which is great. But it's stuck at the 50 fib, and I don't like that. I'd like to see it do a little more here and break above this last high in May. Breaking above this high May right here. If it breaks that and holds that, it's likely to run all-time high. If it does not break this and fails to get under that, it's likely that it comes back down first, a little lower. That's your 2 options. Now, when they're this far out in front, I don't go chasing green, but for the moment, not bad. Again, it needs to close a little higher here. If it doesn't, it's kind of bearish for what it's worth, right? I want to see it close a little higher. And if it can close above 50 cents, it's got a good chance to get above 62. Getting above 62 and closing means it can go to all-time high. If it doesn't do that, it's likely just to make a lower high and fall a little farther. So be careful. I haven't heard about that and not going to look it up because that is a scam, Ronald, that you're talking about. I haven't heard about it. And since I haven't heard about it, because I haven't seen a chart about it, that means it's all degenerates and likely to cost you money. $300 million is a lot of money in a market cap. A lot. All right. So I'm not going to chase degenerate stuff. Nothing personal. Last altcoin we will look at is CRV. I recently sold some of this because it made a lower high and gave me a chance to. That's the only reason I did it. Don't be mad. Don't be mad, bro. Here's weekly. And as we see, she's just getting blistered by sell pressure. Just blistered by sell pressure. And I know I should be buying this. I should be trying to buy support down here, right? I get it. Problem, it just keeps leaning over. Every single time I think it's going to go do good, it rolls over. Because of that, I immediately hit the pause button, right? This is one of the worst looking charts in crypto. Now, I know that means it could have good gains. I get it. But it also means it could just trickle sideways and do nothing for a while before it cracks out. And I hope it cracks out and gets moving here, because look at those weekly Bollinger Bands, right? Look at that. There's a possibility that that thing checks that bottom of the Bollinger Bands right there and never looks back. That's from 44 cents down to 39 cents. All right, see that? Now look at the daily Bollinger Bands. They're leaned over and pointing down, and that's a steady downtrend with no reversal in sight right there. You see that? Look at that. That's leading toward this box. Would you not agree, right? So since that's the case, I'm to assume more down. S2 is at 0.37. That's another 15% from here. For me, that's a lot. So I'm looking for that level to be somewhere I'm going to try to get in at if it comes anywhere down here toward this box. Make sense? That's my thought process on it. If it breaks out, well, I can get back in, because if it breaks out, it's liable to go sideways and up. All right. A lot of these may. And again, it's in limbo. A lot of this stuff is on the edge in limbo. And I hate to be that way, but that's just the facts. Now, let me show you some. I got to take a drink of tequila for Chad. All right. So this is Yayo. Yayo. I like a good Blanco tequila. I'm not big on Reposados. Okay. That's just me. Everyone's a little different. But this one is bottled in Mexico, 100%. 100% agave, ultra silver premium. You know what I mean? It's good stuff. It's good, smooth tequila. So, thank you, Chad. Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's better than some of the whiskeys I've got that are like too much. Not bad. I sold half of my CRV, Paula. I didn't sell it all. I sold half. All right, so thank you for the lookout. Oh, you're welcome. Be careful with ABT. Look at the range. It hasn't broke out. Thank you. I love Blanco. Yeah, I'm just not a big Reposado guy. I'm just, it's not that they're bad. It's just I prefer a Blanco, which means clear, by the way, for you kids who don't speak any Hispanic languages at all, or Latin languages at all. Blancos are clear. Reposados are aged, which means they turn brown, right? Like a golden brown. Here's Bitcoin on the 4 hour. This is hella interesting, right? This happened right at the close of the month right here. I was watching this. I was in church when it happened, so I didn't get to see this last candle. But this last candle changed my opinion. I thought I was wrong for what it's worth. Like, I was like, oh, crap. I'm big wrong here. I'm big wrong. I've screwed up. Because this thing went so far so fast, and then it threw this red candle, and I was like, yes. All right, now, after a couple more sell-offs, here we go. Right back to this range again. So the argument could be made, and don't hate it. This is just a big inverse head and shoulders right here, right? And this is going to ride this inverse head and shoulders, and it's going to crack back north. I can't deny that setup's there. What would invalidate that? The only way that what I just showed you right here, this inverse head and shoulder, the only way this invalidates is if this right shoulder gets closed under. All right? If the candles get some arrows here. If we get candles that close down here below the red line anywhere, this is a lower low, and that invalidates that shoulder, and we're probably coming down for more. All right. If I just drew this out and that comes out to like the 5th, I don't think that's correct. So again, in range, as long as it's in range, which is unfortunately stuck above this red line, because you see how that red line's kind of played out for it this entirety here. See, look, it's very frustrating. As long as it stays above that, well, there's nothing to talk about, unfortunately. If you look at any of the moving averages, yes, it's above all of them. I don't know what to tell you. It's crazy, dude. In fact, I'll put them all in here for you. Look at that. Over the 200, golden cross coming in. So, realistically speaking, this thing should hit that golden cross and take off, right? If it doesn't, we know it's a soft cross. And if it's a soft cross, oh, there's more down coming. We're going to find out. 821 EMA is under the price as well, and the 200, the 100, the 50's creeping up, the 100 is flat. If we get a move up here, that 100 is going to start to turn, and then everything's going to turn, and that's how we know we are wrong, and it's time to re-enter everything we got out of. All right. Anything breaking out up here is going to be very scary. It's going to be scary. I'm going to be really on top of things, trying to be as ahead of it as I can. I can't be perfect, everyone. I'm going to try to be, but I can't be perfect. I want to be as perfect as I can. Here's some fibs on the 4-hour. All right. And this is log mode. I zoom in here, and if I flip it to linear, you'll notice it's just a touch different, not much. But it's almost as if it should be kind of back here. Maybe. But I'm pulling it out to here because I think maybe that's a little bit more realistic. This fib ends on the 7th. So by the 7th, this move is either broken out and proved that it wasn't even ready for this, or it's flipped over this trend line and started to come down and test this range at 41,800, 41,850, almost 42,000. Call it 42. That's pretty darn close. If it fails that red line, if it fails this red line for any particularly long period of time, that's the beginning of the last fall. All right. And then we know we're locked in. And as soon as whatever trend line we have here breaks, or I get down to my boxes, either one of those, if either one of those happens, we know at that point, go time. All right. I don't know that this is for sure the trend line. All right. This is me guessing at this because I only have 2 anchor points. 1, 2. Okay. I need another one in here. So this is either going to come down and break this low, or it's going to crack over. If it cracks over, we know we were wrong, and this trend line is going to end up being something like that. All right. We don't know that yet. That's why I'm showing you what I'm showing you. As long as this one's still valid for what it's worth, right? Look, I mean, that's boiling. That's boiling. We're going to find out in the not too distant future. I'm all over trying my best to be on top of this stuff. Yeah, like a mezcal. Bro, I'll be back in Mexico this year. Absolutely. Listen, that was an hour. It goes by so fast, dude. So we're only on YouTube for an hour a week. You're missing out if you're not over in our Discord with us. WAP.com/team786. You get a 30-day free trial. Why not? It's free for 30 days. Did you hear me? I said it's free for 30 days. Why not come try it out? See what you think. Our big family over there, we'd love to have you. Let me leave you with this. 3 things, all right? I want you to make the best of your todays, the worst of your tomorrows. That's Jay-Z. Thank you for being here. You could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be here with me. Blows my mind, and you'll never understand how much I appreciate it. And last thing, if nobody else told you they love you today, just know Keith loves you. Thank y'all. Y'all be good. Sky's the limit. See you next stream. Peace.